From Grillo hating his massively reduced screen time in Captain America Civil War, to rumors of him being cast in DC's Superman Legacy being all over the place. Here's why Frank Grillo was so disappointed in his Captain America role. The actor wasn't expecting it, but his character got killed before he could even do anything, and it was all Marvel's fault. When Georges St. Pierre played Batroc in The Winter Soldier, fans had their hopes all the way up. Not only was the villain so marvelously done, but he also got to be in a really cool action sequence with Cap. Fans dared to dream, wondering if Batroc was so good, Crossbones would be miles ahead. To add spice to things, Frank Grillo was gonna don the suit of Crossbones, and after seeing his appearance as Brock Rumlow in The Winter Soldier, fans expected nothing less from the Captain America sequel, Civil War. But the excitement was short-lived. Sure, Grillo's Rumlow did don the Crossbones suit in the film, but it barely lasted 5 minutes, and then boom, it was all over. He was blown to smithereens, never to grace your screens again. The most surprising part of it was that even Batroc, who was considered a minor player, got more screen time than Crossbones. As he returned in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was a major letdown, but you're not alone in feeling disappointed. In a candid conversation with comicbook.com, Grillo expressed his frustration, stating that they never truly explored his character's story. He couldn't help but point out how Crossbones was supposed to have a more active presence, but the film took a very unexpected turn. The actor hates how less he got to be on the screen, and he knew there was untapped potential, more things that the MCU could have explored. Trust me, Grillo knows what he's saying, mainly because the character has a super badass role in the Captain America comics, created by the legendary writer Mark Gruenwald and artist Kieran Dwyer. Crossbones' character burst onto the scene in Captain America number 359. He quickly became a consistent enemy for the Avengers, but in Ed Brubaker's run, he truly unleashed his menacing powers. He had a long-standing alliance with the infamous Red Skull, and during this time, he developed a twisted romance with Skull's daughter, Sin. But his character didn't have his jaw-dropping moment until the climax of the Civil War storyline in the comics. That's when he shot the surrendering Captain America right in the shoulder. And trust me, that stuff left readers reeling for days. Crossbones was out as a truly evil character, and not a single doubt was left behind when it came to his deadly reputation. Even after enduring a brutal beatdown and unspeakable torture from the Winter Soldier and the ferocious Wolverine, Crossbones didn't give in. He refused to surrender or spill any secrets, not even under the psychic probing of the mighty Professor X. Some of his memories had been wiped clean, making him a challenge for even the most powerful telepath. But destiny had a plan, and Bucky Barnes, the new Captain America, finally got his long-awaited revenge. He dealt a devastating blow to Crossbones, leaving him in critical condition. But if you think this was enough to keep him down, think again. Even in his weakened state, he continued to be a major problem among the street-level heroes of the MCU. Heck, he even found himself working alongside Wilson Fisk, the notorious Kingpin, when he took on the role of Mayor and formed the Thunderbolts team. Nothing could put a stop to this man's evilness in the comics, and that's exactly why his character in the film was very underwhelming. Now let's dive into where Civil War went wrong. The creators deviated from the source material, and boy did it backfire. Sure, they tried to bring a new perspective to the screen, but Crossbones was reduced to a plot device, and he was nothing more than a random suicide bomber. His only purpose was to sow the seeds of distrust, so that the public would begin to doubt the Avengers. As opposed to that in the comics, the villain had a major impact during the epic conclusion of the Civil War storyline. But in the MCU, he was killed off before he could even leave his mark. The deviation from the source material didn't work in Crossbones' favor, because both the fans and Grillo were waiting for a grand showdown. Brock Rumlow was supposed to be a massive foe to Captain America, almost like Doomsday was to Superman, and Bane was to Batman. I mean, he was meant to bring the thunder. But this isn't the first time Marvel has reduced a role to nothing. Some MCU heroes never got the chance to face up against their iconic villains from the comics, and instead, other characters swooped in and took their place, leaving the heroes high and dry. Captain America suffered from this too, considering how he only had one encounter with Red Skull, his arch-nemesis, which is ridiculous. Crossbones and Batroc became more background villains, and Grillo wasn't happy about it at all. In fact, when he got asked if he would return to the MCU as Crossbones, he struggled to find the right words for his emotions, finally answering with a simple no. This came as a huge surprise, especially since the actor had signed to appear in 7 different MCU projects. He was looking forward to playing Crossbones for a very long time. But after he was killed off in the sequel, he lost all hope in the franchise. Years later, Marvel reached out to him with an offer to appear in Avengers Endgame. And while any actor in their right mind would have jumped at the chance, Grillo turned down the offer and hung up on them. I mean, the dude was holding some serious grudges, but the story didn't end there. After some soul-searching, Grillo had a change of heart. It was all thanks to his son, who convinced him to give Marvel another chance. And boy, was he glad he did. As he reflected on the experience, the actor couldn't help but feel a tinge of regret for his behavior. He still believed Crossbones deserved a much bigger presence in the MCU, especially when compared to some other idiot characters who managed to stick around. But Endgame became a huge success, and despite the bad blood, he was grateful for having taken part in it. In the film, he made a cameo appearance as one of the original Hydra agents with S.H.I.E.L.D., and while it wasn't the character he was dying to play, he made do for the time being. But then, in an interview with NME, he made a shocking announcement. Frank Grillo has his mind set on leaving the MCU. He talked about how he had signed up for 7 movies, because he wanted to continue playing a more significant role in the incredible things Marvel was doing. But it wasn't meant to be. And so, Grillo knew that it was time for him to leave Marvel behind. Instead, he declared that he'll be joining the DCU, where he hopes to be valued much more than he was in Marvel. Recently, he made an appearance at the red carpet premiere of Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and rumors started swirling all over the place, suggesting he's joining the DCU for good. Turns out, he might join the animated series Creature Commandos, and while nothing was confirmed at the time, Grillo wasn't shying away from fueling the rumors. He took matters into his own hands, and after the premiere of the Shazam sequel, he hopped onto his Instagram story and addressed the speculation head-on. He even mentioned Ron Perlman, another actor who's been linked to Creature Commandos. In his cryptic response, Grillo wrote how he and Perlman did a film a long while ago, and then he wondered if they could soon make it too, teasing fans beyond measure. But in an interview with MoviePhone, the actor opened up about his future at DCU, and boy, is he excited to work with James Gunn. Grillo couldn't reveal all the juicy details just yet, because that would have gotten him in trouble. But he mentioned that he's working with both Gunn and Peter Safran. They're the creative masterminds behind the project, and they have something truly spectacular in store. The actor received a call from Gunn himself, who told him that they were ready for him to come work in DC. And guess what? They had just the project lined up for him. Grillo mentioned that things are moving swiftly, and they're gearing up to start shooting in the summer of 2023. You can expect updates to be flowing through regularly, because unlike Marvel, they keep fans in the loop. Grillo admitted that he almost got fired from Captain America multiple times, all because he didn't grasp the Marvel routine. But the DC folks are a lot cooler and relaxed, allowing creativity to flow freely. Now, Grillo was very mysterious about the exact project he was diving into, but it's very likely to be Superman Legacy, considering how the actor mentioned that shooting is set to begin in May 2023, and Legacy happens to be the first film planned for the new DC universe. So you can pretty much connect the dots yourself. And there you have it. From Grillo possibly being cast in DCU's Superman Legacy, to his anger at his tragically reduced screen time in Civil War. Those were all the reasons why Frank Grillo was disappointed in his Captain America role.